Hey guys, how you going? This is BillyEatWorld, and today we're going to take a look at the differences between bolt action sniping in BF Hardline compared to BF4. A lot of people say that Hardline is just a reskinned clone of BF4, but even though it does have similarities, it's really not, and things like sniping feel very different. Hardline is a much closer range game than BF4, so the sniping mechanics are sort of geared for that style of play, although it does stop short of feeling like Call of Duty. I don't think sniping is necessarily easier in either game though, it's just different and it is satisfying in both games for a bunch of different reasons. Before we start though, I should point out that the reason that I'm making this video is because quite a few of you guys have been asking me lately to get back into playing Hardline. Hardline has been losing a lot of support on other platforms, but it seems to be still doing okay on PS4, so I don't mind making more videos for this game if that's what you guys want to see. I think it's obvious that most of you guys want to see more BF4 videos though, so don't worry, that's still going to be the main focus of this channel for at least the next few months. As always though, if you've got a video idea for either game, feel free to leave it in the description below so that I know what kinds of things that you guys want to see. But anyway, to kick off with today's topic, I think probably the most obvious difference between sniping in Hardline versus BF4 is the damage model. As well as headshots, all of the bolt actions except the Scout Elite can now kill in one shot to the chest out to at least 30 meters, which is a fairly decent one-hit kill range compared to BF4. Speaking of the Scout Elite though, well, it only has a max damage of 75, but as a trade-off it fires a hell of a lot faster, which allows for some very quick follow-up shots. On the other hand, the 300 knockout can kill in one shot out to a massive 50 meters, but it also fires a lot slower and its damage drop-off is fairly steep after that 50 meter mark. Apart from damage model though, the other two main stats when it comes to sniping are bullet drop and muzzle velocity, which are pretty different across the category. In general, the Scout Elite has the best muzzle velocity, followed by the AWM and then the 300 knockout and Remington 700, which are tied for third place. As a trade-off though, the Scout Elite has a bullet drop of 15 meters per second, so unfortunately, even though the faster muzzle velocity will make hitting moving targets easier, you will still have to compensate for bullet drop. The 300 knockout also has the same 15 meters per second bullet drop, which I guess is to try and nerf it even further at long range to compensate for its one-hit kill ability. Now, bearing all of this in mind, if this was BF4, you'd probably think that the R700 would be the best all-round sniper rifle, but this isn't really the case in Hardline. For close range maps, the Scout Elite is hands down the best bolt action because unlike in BF4, it's a guaranteed one-hit kill to the head at all ranges. The other bolt actions just rechamber too slowly for this type of game, and while they might work on some maps, the Scout Elite is going to dominate on everything else. That being said though, the Scout Elite doesn't have access to the Magnum ammo upgrade like the R700 and the AWM, so this might be important if you're the kind of person who likes to quickscope or take out vehicles. Now, speaking of Magnum ammo, basically what this upgrade does is increase accuracy and damage to vehicles at the expense of a lot more recoil and a slower rate of fire. It also got a pretty significant buff in the recent patch, which increased the damage drop-off of these guns to start at 50 meters and end at 110 meters. The Magnum ammo also completely negates the mechanic's armored insert, meaning that as long as you hit an enemy in the chest, you've got a guaranteed one-hit kill out to 50 meters. Whether or not this is actually worth the disadvantages depends on your playstyle, but I think it's definitely worth it for long-range sniping, because this is where you can actually sacrifice RPM for a little bit better accuracy and damage. When it comes to long-range sniping though, you're kind of limited in Hardline because you don't have access to bipods or the rangefinder. The most powerful optic in this game is also only 14 times compared to 40 times in BF4, and there isn't any sort of variable zoom attachment. Unlike in BF4 though, in Hardline we do have access to the extended mags, which I personally don't use, but I could see being effective for some people. Also, you can sort of get around the lack of a rangefinder attachment by using the zipline, but that being said, it does cap out at 200 meters, which is a pretty easy range to estimate anyway. But anyway, to finish up, you can probably see by now that sniping in Hardline just isn't the same as it is in BF4, and this is something that you might love or you might hate. Overall, I think I like sniping in BF4 a lot more because I feel like it requires a bit more skill, but like I said, sniping in Hardline is satisfying once you get the hang of it. If you like close range sniping, well, it's definitely a lot more effective now in Hardline than it has been in previous games, and it can be pretty fun. I was getting to the top of the scoreboard pretty consistently with the Scout Elite in CQB, but it is a shame that the other bolt actions just aren't as viable on the majority of maps. I think as far as future patches go, I'm not sure I'd change the weapon stats too much, although I do think the AWM and the R700 could probably do with a buff to muzzle velocity. This, along with the introduction of attachments like the variable zoom and the rangefinder like I mentioned before, would definitely make long-range sniping a lot more viable. I'd also like to see a few more bolt actions added in upcoming DLC because I think at this point 4 guns just isn't really enough. As far as we know though, the Professional Kit is going to get a lot of new content in its own DLC later on in the year, so let's just hope some of these changes come through in that one. But anyway guys, that just about wraps up this video, so let me know what you think of sniping in BF Hardline, and as always, if you like what you see, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Also, check out the links in the description below if you want to see more of my videos, or if you'd like to support my channel on Patreon, and until next time, see you later and have a good one.